SMT Nation, we are back. Nation, in today's video, we've got an update for you guys here for AT&T and their wireless network. Really what it's about is about the 5G network. And I know a lot of you guys are following this story very closely, how things kind of play out for AT&T in this competitive space with T-Mobile and Verizon. So let's go ahead and get into some of the things that were covered by AT&T CEO John Stankey at this investor conference on December 3rd. All right, so it took place in Dallas at the AT&T Stadium. A lot of folks there to attend it and kind of see what's going on with AT&T. Here are some of the things that CEO John Stankey talked about in his opening remarks. The first thing that stuck out to me, he referred to the AT&T network, the future network, where things are going, as being, quote, open, quote, modern, quote, programmable. And to me, this signals everything that he's said previously about the directional movement towards O-RAN. The fact that you can have this scalable, sizable, large network that's also very, very flexible and really, really adjustable. Kind of dealing with the demands and the needs of the company and the demands and the needs of the consumer and monetizing it accordingly. So I got some of that from what he was describing. Additionally, he did mention that the network transition, so going into the O-RAN platform and doing so through the Nokia transition from Nokia to Ericsson and going completely O-RAN with all of their radio vendors. He said that project is going to be done in 2027. All right, and I don't know if that was beginning of 27 or end of 27, but he said at that point in time, they will be at 300 million pops of 5G coverage. And I think that's relative to the mid-band 5G build, talking about like C-band and DoD with N77. Obviously, the new network is going to be multi-generational. So as things kind of transition towards Gen AI and artificial intelligence and new use cases and user-created applications and things of that nature, different products and services, the AT&T network will be positioned to allow folks to use it in that fashion, right? So, one of the things that stuck out to me, and I mentioned it in the last video, was, the quote from John Stankey, which was highest capacity, lowest marginal cost network in America. So he's trying to play the balance of doing this in the most cost-effective way that's going to be most attractive to the investor, but also being able to, create a high-capacity network. And I tend to hold my position. That's going to be nearly impossible to do, if it even is possible. I don't know. To build a high-capacity network, I think cost has to go out the window at times. And it's no coincidence that they've been cutting the most corners in their wireless network and they've gotten the least out of it. Meanwhile, I think Verizon and T-Mobile both get more out of their wireless network, in my humble opinion. But, it's hard to argue. AT&T has had pretty steady growth in the consumer space. The customers getting the best phone deals. They've been able to add over 10 million subscribers in just the last few years. And they've found a lot of success. And the network usage has increased every step of the way. I mean, here's the numbers, right? You've got home broadband, data usage is up 60% over the last 4 years. And it's up 80% in wireless, or will be up 80% in wireless over the course of the next several years. So they've seen 70% increases in traffic. They're anticipating an additional 80% increase in the future. They're going to have to continue to build capacity on the network. And the only way they do that, in their case, is fully modernization, investing in fiber circuits, of course, and just scaling those upgrades. And the fact that they're moving towards O-RAN, I think, allows them to do it at a cost-effective way that's good for their business. And this is what the investor wanted to hear. A lot of what the CEO of AT&T, John Stankey, said in this conference was very sensitive to the investor. But I think something that the investor is not really understanding and maybe disconnected from is it's hard to build a high capacity, low cost 5G network. I don't think it exists. To me, like I said in a previous video, that's a unicorn. You can have a donkey, you can have a horse, but unicorns aren't real. And, AT&T is no special snowflake. These networks, they're high cost and you can monetize them. And I did like what I heard from AT&T. They mentioned value. They mentioned, high performance. They didn't seem too interested in selling things low cost, right? So for the sake of the investor, right, margins are a great thing. But I think ultimately, I think AT&T needs to understand that, right? I don't know about this low-cost business. That will leave you 3 of 3, which we currently perceive AT&T as being the 5G network that would be in third place, 3 of 3. What do you guys think? What do you think about this update? What does it mean to you? I think this is a good update. I think this is great. It gives us a little bit of a kind of an endpoint of where we can expect the AT&T network to be in a few years. And it should be really good. It should be high performing. Tough situation that it's taking this long, but at least we'll be getting there. At least according to AT&T. You guys think they hit their mark, or do you think they're going to come across some hiccups and some stutters, and maybe it might take longer than they think? What's your take on this? Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people. The SMT Nation, let your voice be heard.